My name is ALEXEI TOLIOPOULOS, and it is my pleasure and my honor and my duty to welcome you to my brand new show. This is it, and this is the last video store. Every week on this show, I'll be joined by wonderful guests, and they're going to be coming into the store. And what are we going to do? We're going to chat, we're going to converse about their favorite films. We're going to talk about one new release. We're going to talk about two of their favorite older movies. Those are weeklies. And then I'm going to leave them with the staff pick recommendation, a bespoke choice from me based on their taste. And the first person joining me had to be a certain fella, one of my dearest friends who I've collaborated with many times throughout my life. It is the wonderful, the hilarious, the beautiful Cameron James. You know him from stand-up comedy. You know him from making shows with me like Finding DRAGO, the podcast, Finding Desperado, the podcast, Finding YEEZUS, the YouTube web series. We solve mysteries together. We've also talked about popular culture freaking ad nauseum over on Mic Check, Total Reboot, and special features. If you want to listen to special features on Total Reboot, we got them in a new feed for you. You can click on over to it wherever you want. But now we're in the last video store. Cameron is joining me in here. He freaking dropped me off. He drove me all the way up to Betoota so I can live my life in my fantasy of returning to being a video store clerk. I love Cameron. I think you will too. Unless you already do love him, which is actually awesome. So thank you for doing that. But let's enjoy this chat. All right, well, here we are inside the last video store.
Wow.
In Betoota, Queensland.
It's beautiful to be here. I did drive you here, so...
Yes, I don't have a license.
Yeah.
My dearest friend, Cameron James, you're the only person that would do this for me. Drive me halfway across the country.
I would do anything for you. If you asked me to drive you further,
wow,
I would ask you to chip in petrol, but I'd still drive you.
And this was one on the house. I didn't have to chip in anything. And all we had to do was carry 20,000 DVDs and 65 million VHS tapes.
The entire collection.
The whole collection has been shipped over to Betoota.
Wow, how do you feel about it?
I feel emotional. It's a huge step in my life to go back to whence I came. A humble video store clerk, but this time, not so humble. I'm carrying a big old ego.
Whoa, this guy's cocky.
I'm cocky, but you know, I'm doing what I love most. Talking about movies, scanning discs and loading them to people.
Is a lot of being a clerk just kind of data entry?
It's a lot of data entry. It's a lot of scanning discs. I still have nightmares from when I was a teenager working in the store because we didn't keep the discs in the cases out in the field because people would take them and run out. So we had a huge vault. Like it literally was a vaulted door in Mondo movies that had like, you could spin the little thing and it would bolt in with those huge
like a bank vault.
A bank vault.
From like The Mask and stuff.
Yeah, that's the one who goes, guys, The Mask though.
That's the only bank robber movie I could think of in the moment.
The Mask? But it's like that. It had like those little bolts that come in through each way. And in there we had like 20,000 discs of just like, and you had to like go, okay, what's the number on the box? Go memorize that number or take it in if you've been around the block a few times, you need to take it inside with you. And you have to just go through all these little sleeves.
Okay, where's Dunstan checks in? There it is.
Okay, Dunstan checks in is about movie 1200. Okay, going in there. And no shit, to this day, I'll have nightmares about being in that room. And it's like, fuck, the numbers are up to 1 million. The numbers are up to 1 million. And here at Betoota Video, we've got every single movie ever made. So it's hard to go through them all.
Okay.
But, you know, you're our first customer. Allow me to do you a beautiful service.
Okay.
You're customer zero.
Whoa.
You're going off the books.
That's actually a really good rap name.
Customer zero.
Can I use that?
You can use that.
I'm thinking of rebranding as like a kind of white hip hop guy.
Wow, it's rebrand.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of your brand.
Really?
Yeah,
you think that's sort of my thing?
Because you're always going, yo, yo, yo.
I do say that a lot.
Yo, yo,
but
yo.
I'm mainly saying yo, yo, Adrian.
Oh, of course, based on the movie character Rocky and his girlfriend, Adrian Balboa.
Yeah.
Ni Anyway, I've got to sign you up to this. I'm going to need your name for the record. Say it out loud, bro.
Okay, it's Cameron James.
Cameron James.
Cameronjames.
Okay, in what order?
Cameron first, then James second.
Okay, that's in there. I need to see a little piece of ID. I've seen here you've got a little driver's license, and it's registered to the vehicle, the Black Pearl, named Jack Sparrow.
Yes, I used to work at a theatre restaurant when I was 21, and the character I played was Jack Sparrow.
Wow. And Jack Sparrow, he's known for so many great songs. He's known for so many great songs. But what were the songs that Jack would sing?
Captain Jack.
Captain Jack.
Captain Jack.
Sorry, I need to say
thank you, please. Because Jack could be anybody. It could be Jack Skellington.
Could be Whispering Jack.
Could be Jack from the movie Jack.
Yeah,
which is one of the scariest movies of all time.
Of course, because it tells you about the perils of aging.
Exactly. Captain Jack's songs were, I had two signature songs. One was Robbie Williams' Rock DJ.
Wow.
Great tune.
Love that.
And the other one was Smash Mouth's cover of I'm a Believer from the Shrek soundtrack.
Shrek soundtrack. So everything's movie related.
Yeah, everything's movie related. In my life, in my theatre restaurant days, my future.
In your future, wow. And of course, you're taking on the character of Captain Jack one more time. You're looking back at those years of your life right now with the nostalgic lens of one, who's a nostalgic filmmaker? Did I say Woody Allen?
He's quite nostalgic. I would say a safer bet, Richard Linklater.
Let me take that again. With the nostalgic eyes of one nostalgic filmmaker, Dickie Linklater.
That's right. Another one would be Woody Allen.
Oh, God, okay, yeah, interesting.
So it's in there, no matter what cut you use.
Yeah, it's going to be in there. But you're going back, you're doing a new show, MIXTAPE, where you're looking back at this time in your life. Yeah,
I'm looking back on specifically the year 2009 when I worked at this theatre restaurant and...
Avatar was coming out in cinemas.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Was Inglourious Bastards that year as well?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
See, that's the one that comes to mind for me when I think 09. I'm more of a dirty, down and dirty Tarantino guy. You're more of a pristine James Cameron.
Blockbuster. I love Blockbuster.
Yeah. I like cult movies like Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, so my show is mainly set during that era when I was working at a theatre restaurant and I was going through my first serious relationship at the same time.
Wow.
And I had to choose which one I was going to put all my energy and focus on.
God, and was he a certain, how do I say, swashbuckler that won out?
You have to see the show to find out.
What a beautiful sell. Well, we're signing you up. I'm going to send you out to the shelf. Scan them. We've got everything in there. You and I just spent the last 16 days putting the shelves together.
Yeah.
Putting all the movies up in alphabetized order, categorized by genre, such as drama,
horror,
comedy,
children's stuff.
Yeah, children and family section, and the kids do pisses and shits in the corner. They're one of the dirtiest places in the world. Cult, art house, and cult. That's my favorite section.
My favorite section is the one through that little door with beads hanging down there.
And we beaded them ourselves. We beaded them off. We just put those little beads in there.
We had a bead off.
Yeah, we had a little bead off session. We were back to back putting the beads, putting the beads together.
B2B.
And then we but I'm going to send you out. You can pick from any single movie ever. We've got every single film in here in our cavernous video store.
Okay. Am I picking new release, weeklies?
It's a combination. You've got the new member combo. Combo is 1 new release, 2 weekly titles.
New release.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously we don't have a hard copy of my new release.
We don't have a hard copy edition, but slide over your collection. What have we got?
Okay. I've got a couple of weeklies here, and I've got a new release that I assume you'll have to download for me or torrent.
We've got a physical copy. It's just out back. Allow me a few seconds to go over and pick it up. Okay, movie 10,027. Interesting. Director Molly Gordon. Co-directed with a little fella that goes by the name of Nick Lieberman. The movie is 2023's Theatre Camp.
Comedy.
Yes, I had to put it in there. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know that you don't have a physical copy right here, but I just love it so much. I had to have it.
It's a wonderful movie. I fucking loved this film so much. It was one of the most joyous in-cinema experiences I've had in the last few years.
It was a joy.
In particular, I would say there is this climax in the movie where you see one of the characters played by Noah Galvin, who has not had the chance to finally perform. And I was both in tears with joy for the character, but completely losing my mind with laughter. I thought it was so funny. What is like the basic premise for Theatre Camp and why should people watch it?
I guess it's sort of like standing on the shoulders, I will say, of a Christopher Guest sort of film in that it is a mockumentary. It's about wannabe actors who go to a summer camp for like drama kids, essentially. They're like young children who want to be stars when they grow up. The camp is taught by people that are in their 20s who maybe are never going to be the stars they wanted to be when they were little. And that's kind of the tension that's at play. Is it's sort of like, do I want to teach the next generation or do I want to be a star myself? And the movie's mainly about that, I would say. But it's also about friendship and love and about the joy of putting on a show for your parents and all that kind of stuff.
And it's also, these kids are so talented.
Yeah.
They're so funny. They've got such like vibrant personalities. And also there's something about it where it's like got that gooey nostalgic quality of, you know, you were probably a theatre fella. I was a theatre kid to some degree. But I think it really captures all that in the joyous way that, like you said, Christopher Guest does. But also, you know, if you love stuff like Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah, it's got a lot of that in it too. Yeah.
It bridges like the gap almost between This Is Spinal Tap and those kind of like faux documentaries. But then it gets a little bit more usually it's a thing that I love about faux documentaries where it's completely spellbinding. They never break the spell. This one doesn't always live in that realistic space, but it's always in aid of like a really killer joke or something really funny or an insight that you wouldn't be able to see if it was a fully realized faux documentary.
It definitely does one of your favorite things in a musical, which is Merm.
Oh, musically enhanced reality modes.
It does a little bit of musically enhanced reality mode stuff towards the third act of the movie where these kids are putting on a play for their parents. They've been working on it all summer and it's a musical. And when the musical is happening on stage, it sort of starts to infect the filmmaking as well. Some types of shots that we've never seen before start happening. Characters who are not on stage begin to sing a little bit as well. It kind of lifts itself up almost into musical mode. It's kind of like a covert musical in many ways.
It's covert.
It's Alan Covert.
Alan Covert style musical. One of Sandler's great collaborators.
Yeah.
But Merm, it's my favorite term. It is basically that little thing.
Merm. Yeah, the Merm is the term.
It's when, you know, when you're in that musical mode and you start almost soliloquizing. You're like, yeah, I don't really know how to feel about this kind of thing.
I guess I feel a little sad. It's that kind of shit.
That shit. I love that shit.
You love that shit.
And I felt something in me.
It has Mermy moments. There's a moment towards the end when Molly Gordon's character is reuniting with her best friend that she's had a falling out with, Ben Platt's character.
Great pairing.
Great pairing. Together. Actual best friends, childhood best friends, now both
adult
stars.
Collaborators, stars.
And during their reconciliation, which comes at the climax of the onstage play, she starts singing harmonies to the play that's happening on stage. And it was, it just fucking killed me. I just loved it so much. And I had this experience when I left the cinema. The final song of the play is like the climax of the movie as well. So I left the cinema singing it and I was walking home. I went and saw it in the middle of the day as well. So I walked home. I had the rest of the day ahead of me. I was all buzzed up from watching this movie. And I was thinking to myself, God, musicals are just so special and powerful that they can leave you with an emotion that you didn't have, you know, and it's all just through song and repetition and music, and it's pretty cool stuff.
Wow, you have a glint in your eye. Dare I say, could it be a tear of joy peeking around the corner of your ducts?
I've always been a little bit in denial that I like musicals,
Mm-hmm.
but the older I get, the more I just have to admit it to myself and to you and to all of your viewers that they get me 100% of the time.
Whoa,
Something
okay.
will happen in a musical, even if it's really cheesy,
Mm-hmm.
really lame or mainstream, there will always be a point in the show or the film where I become overwhelmed emotionally.
Wow.
And I think it's because I'm such a big music fan, and I love
You love the power of
I
music.
love the power of music, but I also love the commitment and dedication of an actor who has learnt to sing.
The craft. It's all about the craft, the dedication to
It's
the
all
craft.
there. And if there's dancing involved, I'm even more like I'm gone. I've said this to you before, but the first time I was lucky enough to go to a famous city in the world called New York City,
Whoa.
which I don't know if you've heard about it.
I've heard of it.
Seinfeld's based there.
Seinfeld's set there, not filmed
Not
there.
filmed there.
It's filmed in LA.
Yeah.
Which is a city of angels.
Yeah.
If I were to characterize New York, it's a little bit down and dirty, perhaps a city of devils.
Definitely Beelzebub would be chilling out down
He
there.
would be a regular at a diner. You go, fuck, who's that? Beelzebub.
He's always here.
Can't you tell he's got big fucking horns popping out of his head?
He's the devil, bruh.
He's devil related, devil adjacent.
He's devil adjacent.
He's devil adjacent. He's mates with the devil.
The first time I went to New York City or NYC,
NYC, we got to save time.
That's what I call it.
If you could, if the city was any kind of fruit, what size would it be and what kind of fruit?
it'd be big, it'd be an apple. And
Wow.
brother, I want to take a bite. I hope there's not a worm in there. Okay, Donald Trump.
Trump Tower's the worm of flipping the big apple. We've always said that.
Why
We've always
has
said
that not been a meme?
I
We
think it
should
should
make
be a
that
meme.
really popular.
I think that should be a meme that we make.
Is this podcast coming out in 2016?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
backdating
Good.
We're backdating
Yeah,
it.
because I think that would pop in
It would
2016.
pop. Yeah, that's fucking
So,
awesome.
The first time I went there and I saw a show on Broadway, it was La Cage aux Folles,
Oh,
Which has,
I am what I am.
and that song, for anyone who doesn't know, La Cage aux Folles is probably most famous as the film adaptation, The Birdcage.
Yes, by Elaine May and
Yes.
Mike Nichols,
Starring Robin Williams, Nathan Lane,
Gene
Hackman,
Hackman, and Diane Weiss.
Sure, Diane Weiss. Love
Yes.
Diane Weiss.
We went 4 names deep on the Birdcage.
And we didn't
just
even
then.
mention Hank Azaria.
Oh my God. And I'm going to have to freaking commit harakiri for leaving him out. Fabulous performance.
Great performance.
But it's based on a French film as well,
Yeah.
La Cage aux Folles. And then Harvey Fierstein.
Yes, wrote the book and adapted it as a show. And the Broadway show that I saw,
God, who was in it?
Kelsey Grammer played the Robin Williams part.
Yes, of course.
And the Nathan Lane part was played by an actor whose name now escapes me, but he is in The Favourite, the show The Favourite.
Nicholas Holt? Nicholas Holt?
Yes, he was 15 at the time.
He was 15?
Fresh from Skins.
Playing a beautiful drag queen character?
Can't remember the actor's name, but he's really great. Look him up. Sorry if this is upsetting. He's like a Tony winner, really fantastic actor. He played the part on West End as well. And when he sings that song, I Am What I Am, which is the moment of the story where the character has been denied the love of his partner, and he's being forced to pretend to be a straight man. And he sings this song, claiming boldly that his sexuality and that he's proud of who he is and he doesn't want to hide anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess, the torch song of the movie, like the classic moment in these sort of musicals where...
Torch Song Trilogy, another play by Harvey Fierstein.
There you go. It's the classic moment in the show where the character declares something like, here's who I am what I am. And I started bawling my eyes out. And it was my first experience crying in a live play.
Yeah.
And ever since then, any musical eventually makes me cry.
It unlocked something
It
for you.
did. It really did. Like, I can't go back now.
It's a beautiful song. I saw La Cage aux Folles in Sydney last year. And I tell you who played that character. One of my favorite actors, an actor you love, Paul Capsis. woo, from head on, Mike, spectacular.
Yeah.
So fun, so spectacular. Doing almost like a Mae West impression for a lot of like the drag aspect of the character.
Yeah, that's
really fun. But you know, that's our first scoop of the podcast. Macho Man Cameron James admits he loves musicals.
Thank you. And Macho Man is also a song by a very gay pop group called The Village People.
A very gay guy called The Village People. All right, we're going to send you back out. We're going to go get some weekly titles. Before I do that, I'm going to ask you another question for the form.
Okay.
Have you ever been a member or currently are you a member of another video store? You're going to have to swear your allegiance to us and cancel that citizenship.
I was previously a member of Video Easy Charlestown.
Where's Charlestown?
In Newcastle.
Newcastle.
It's a suburb that I was born in.
You were bred in?
Born in, bred in.
You were inbred in? Okay.
Little joke.
That's exciting.
And it no longer exists, so I think I'm fine.
Do you have any memories of this place?
Of course. Big, beautiful building.
Take me
Beautiful,
back.
cavernous.
Cavernous.
High ceilings. I remember the exact layout of it. I remember I would walk. I was obsessed with walking down the horror aisle because you'd see some wild covers from the 1980s. And
did you feel a
90s.
chill staring at them? Was
Absolutely.
there something about
all of it scared me?
Did you feel transgressive?
Of course, because you'd see like the one that comes to mind particularly that made me feel like this is transgressive. This is hardcore shit.
The devil is whispering in your ear.
Yeah, the devil, Beelzebub himself.
Hey, come look at me.
Come sit next to me in this diner. It was the cover for Ghoulies.
Oh, fucking the little bald guy popping out of the toilet?
yeah.
Have you ever seen Ghoulies?
No, never seen
I remember I saw with some friends at a sleepover. Probably like around that.
It's a real sleepover movie.
Real sleepover, dirty sleepover movie.
Yeah.
I have almost no memory of it, but the cover, that's like
the
a great
cover is iconic. It's this little green monster character who's bald.
Can I say something rude?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like Paulie Panina from our aforementioned Rocky.
Yeah.
He does look a little
Adrian's
bit.
brother.
Yeah, he looks like Burt Young, you know?
Does look a bit like Burt Young.
But green Burt Young.
Green Burt Young.
I wonder if they're brothers.
Popping out of a toilet. And the implication is, God, if you're sitting on that dunny can and a little monster comes out with sharp teeth, eats your little butthole out, you'd probably have a pretty bad time.
Yeah, it might be the last moments of your life. And I don't think they're going to be pleasant for more than 3 seconds.
You're dying getting your salad tossed? Come on.
By a little green Burt Young.
That's scary stuff.
Well, you've got a choice of any older movie ever made.
Okay.
Go have a pick. Pick a few choices. Come on back.
Will do.
Weekly.
I've been scouring the shelves. And I went back into that little beaded room for a little
I
while.
noticed that for a few minutes.
Yeah, I just wanted to see what was going on back there. By the way, what's Titty Slickers?
Well, it's a lovely movie starring Billy Bob Crystal Balls.
I noticed you have one flick that I couldn't find on the shelf at all. There's one I've been wanting to look at for a long time. It's an older film. It's called Lex the Wonder Dog.
Oh, gosh.
It was directed by a filmmaker called Sidney Ling.
Lord Sidney Ling.
Lord Sidney Ling, allegedly. Do you have any idea if you can track that one down, order it in or anything for me?
Okay, I'm checking the system. Okay, this is the one movie we don't have on the shelf.
Damn.
And you and I have spent many of our moons, our shared moons together, which is what we call nights.
We
our
do call
shared
them moons.
We call them shared moons. And we went trying to find this movie, Lex the Wonder Dog. Why? Because it is a movie that once held the title for world's youngest filmmaker.
Yeah, in the Guinness Book of Records. One of the most famous books of all time.
Yeah.
Second only to the Bible and the Da Vinci Code.
Which are related. This is the only one that's not in there. But it does have references to both of those books as being really good bestsellers.
Yeah, they are probably both in the Guinness Book of Records.
Probably are.
Yeah.
But, you know, that it was held that title for, I don't know, like 30-something years.
Definitely.
And we went trying to find it because we didn't think it was a real record. We made a whole podcast about it called Finding Desperado. And it's still one of my missions that one day we'll see this movie. Today is not that day.
We have been assured by the filmmaker that it is real, that it was not a hoax, that it does exist. He says that the film print of it was stolen out of the back of a truck in Spain. And
known for truck thieves.
Could be true. And of course, as we all know from our times traveling DVDs and VHSs everywhere, thieves go gaga for this stuff.
They go, fuck, that's film reels.
They're
God,
always
I'm
trying
gonna
to
take
steal
it.
film.
Steal those film reels. You know, this is how I've been thinking about it. I think the only way that we'll get to see this movie one day, hopefully in the far off future, we'll both die of identical Kevin Smith style heart attacks. We'll go to that beautiful multiplex in the sky. We'll sit down. Rosario Dawson's next to us.
Obviously.
She also died of an identical Kevin Smith style heart attack. And what should come up on the screen, but the movie we've been searching our whole lives for, our reward from St. Peter, the projectionist up in the sky.
He goes, I finally tracked down a print. It was in a basement in Berlin. It's been restored.
Beautifully
There's
restored.
also special features. There's commentary from Lord Sydney himself.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
We're
And the Wonder Dog, they tracked that down.
the Wonder Dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Wonder Dog, he grew up to be Uggy from The Artist. Yeah.
That's awesome.
The Oscar-winning film The Artist.
It's amazing.
Amazing stuff. But
So
that's...
you don't have it.
We don't have it.
Okay.
But if you want, we can see it today. All we have to do is...
Yeah, finally have our joint heart attacks.
Yeah.
And there's only one way to get it. We got to go in that back room.
Buzzers, beat, let's go in. But you've got some other wonderful films here.
I've got two picks that I took off the shelf. They're a bit related to the new release that we just talked about a little bit as well. A bit inspired by that discussion.
Wow, well, you know, films inspire each other and films inspire us in real life. And that's the main message of this podcast.
That's a great message, man.
Yeah, well, it's just a reflection
I heard
of
that
truth.
Anchorman 2 was inspired by Anchorman 1.
Very much so. Almost identical plot lines.
I've got two options here. I've got a comedy or a drama. What do you want first?
Let's take a turn to the dark arts of drama.
Okay, let me flip the mask around.
Oop, here we go.
Yeah.
Cover one side of that tattoo of yours.
It's next to the old school 1950s microphone that I had. This is a dramatic film. It is about music, but it would also, I think, be categorized as a thriller in some ways. I don't know where you put it on the shelves. I'd actually like to, if it was under drama, I will take umbrage with you.
Okay.
Professor Umbridge.
Dolores style.
Umbridge.
Oh, God. The pink menace, Dolores Umbridge.
Okay. The film is Damien Chazelle's Whiplash.
Damien, son of the devil, Beelzebub? Yeah, Whiplash.
Thriller.
Whiplash.
Great movie, great
Starring
film.
J.K. Rowling. Oh, no, wait, sorry.
No, another JK.
Different JK.
I'm going to have to take umbrage of that. Dolores style. And Miles Teller, or in
And
Australia,
Miles Teller.
Kilometres Teller.
Yeah, also Paul Reiser's in it.
Oh my God. And you know what I say about him? I'm not mad about him. Just kidding, I am.
More of a Helen Hunt guy.
Tell me why. I love you like I do. I love Paul Reiser in this.
Yeah.
But I love this movie. Did you see this in cinemas when it came out?
I don't think I did.
Gosh.
I think I saw the
The first
parodies
portrayal
of
of
it
it.
before I saw the movie.
What are the parodies of it?
There, you know, it was like a thing. I swear to God, there would have been like SNL sketches or it wouldn't be this, but you know, like Billy Crystal doing a parody of it at the Oscars.
It might have been. I think he came back to the Oscars around this time. Okay, what am I singing on Dragon? What am I doing?
Something like that.
Oh God, there's a guy in a black t-shirt about to scream my head off.
It's not his tempo. He's telling me it's not his tempo.
Okay.
It would have been something like that. I would have seen some kind of parody version of it, and then it was in the zeitgeist. I knew everyone liked it, and then I eventually saw it. Actually, but now that I'm talking this out loud, I am remembering seeing it on a big screen. So either I saw it at the cinema or at your house.
Or you sat really close to a TV.
Poltergeist style.
Maybe we did watch this together because I remember seeing this cinema, absolutely loving it, and I think I remember getting excited for you to see it because I know that you have a fondness for J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, I love him. Love the guy. He's got a great rig.
Unbelievable rig, and it got even better after this movie.
He really put the work in.
Those freaking photos on his Instagram
the
of like he's got
gains.
that big beard and those big muscles.
What was that for, by the way?
That was for the movies that he was in one of the Justice Leagues. The Zack Snyder Justice League thing.
And did it come out?
He played Detective Gordon. Yeah, it came out, but guess what his outfit is? Gordon's outfit in all the other movies, a brown baggy suit. That
So he
looks like
doesn't-
crap.
He doesn't have the guns out at all.
No, mate. He's wearing a freaking like 3-piece suit and a trench over the top, little cap on. Every Gordon scene ever filmed in a Batman movie is on a rainy rooftop.
Yeah,
So it's like, okay, we've got to rug him up. You're not going to see the freaking beads of rain glistening between the creases of his muscles. Hang on a second. Yeah.
They should have just had him up there doing CrossFit or something.
That would be awesome. He goes, hey, Batman, give me a second.
I just got to finish my reps.
I'm doing my reps, Batman.
Yeah, I love J.K. Simmons, and I became a Miles Teller fan right on time for everyone to start hating him. Right before everyone started liking him again, actually. There was this movie, before this movie, he was in The Spectacular Now. And
great film.
I really loved that movie. I thought that was a really cool, almost reversal of the like classic coming of age arc where the guy has to like learn to shine bright and be a unique person in the world. It was more like, hey dude, you actually need to learn to just be fucking normal and get a job and stop being a like show off little prick.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And then this movie is about him getting that show off little prick broken down almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Where is the, you know, you're someone who has a musical background. Did you ever have like formal training or were you just like a winging it guy?
I went to lessons. I did guitar lessons, but it wasn't like formal like this. It was just a dude who was probably, in hindsight now, only like 4 years older than me.
Yeah, but he was cool.
And he was cool, and he liked cool music, and he would teach me Radiohead songs and Blink-182 and stuff.
He's like, hey, you're a bit of a weirdo. I got something you might like.
You're a freak. You're a weirdo. He also would always tell me that he had a crush on my cousin.
Every time?
He'd always be like, how's Katie going, man?
Yeah, by the way, I've got a crush on her.
Oh, man, I always had the biggest crush on her at school.
Tell her I say hey.
It was always saying that sort of stuff to me.
Wow, what did
And then I'd go back and tell Katie, I'd be like, Dom says hi, and she'd be like, oh, yeah, cool. Like, it was obviously just some dude that had a crush on her.
What are Katie and Dom doing now?
I think they hooked up once.
Oh my God, Dom, your dream came true. I feel pride for Dom right now.
Yeah, I mean, good on him. He got to nail my cousin, man.
Every guy's dream. I remember I studied violin when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
For 7 years.
What?
I don't know if we've ever talked about this.
No.
I studied violin for 7 years, but from the age of 7 to 14.
Whoa.
And I was never good at it for 1 minute during that time.
That's a long time.
For a long time. Because I hated practicing. I hated practicing. I would just go to the lessons. And I had a hard taskmaster as my person.
This guy.
Not unlike, her name was Olga. She was a Russian expat. And not even kidding, if I would stuff up, my dad's like fucking marking papers in the corner, not paying enough attention. She would poke me with a pencil in the ribs if I was not doing well. So I'm watching this whiplash. I'm going through some trauma going, oh my God, I repressed these memories of a woman jabbing me with a pencil.
Interesting. So that's what you related to in the film, is like the idea bloodshed of being under pressure by a taskmaster.
By a hard taskmaster.
I related to the Miles Teller character of wanting to be great, but constantly coming up against the wall of realizing you're not good enough. And that's how I felt as a musician when I was in my teens and 20s, was like, I have all the taste of someone who is good at this, but I'm just not quite good enough at it. And so I was my own J.K. Simmons and my own Miles Teller.
We all have a J.K. within us.
Definitely.
And he's screaming at you.
He's always yelling, on my tempo, pal.
And you go, God, am I dragging right now or am I rushing? Oh, God.
Or am I Russian? Is my name Olga?
Oh, God, my ribs. I'm feeling my old injury come back. Did you see the other Damien Chazelle movies since? Because this is, like, to me, one of the great feature debuts.
It's a pretty outstanding debut. And I love that it also crosses genres. It's, you know, a drama, I suppose. Is that where you'd put it on the shelf?
I don't know. I would probably go art house to just quell any of those categories. So we're going to pop it back in the art house or cult section.
Sure.
But I think that you're right, because when we together talk about genre a lot, we talk about it as like a means for communication of how to feel stories and how to interpret them. And I think this, like you said, it uses thriller kind of elements and
got a strong
tension.
Thriller, a lot of tension. And that was really cool to me to see thriller language used just with the scene of a guy trying to learn a fucking drum solo. Like that was so cool to me, to be like, this is scary and intense, but there's no one going to kill anyone here. It's just a guy trying to get this like paradiddle or whatever. And also it's got it's a covert musical as well because there's long musical numbers in it. So I thought Damien Chazelle's career was going to be a little further down the thriller path. Because I remember at that time he'd also written 10 Cloverfield Lane.
He wrote that? I have no memory of that being him.
He wrote that. Wow. And there's another thriller adjacent movie that he wrote around that time as well. He was like a go-to script doctor for a little while there.
He's a wunderkind.
And then his next film, I believe it was his next film, was just a pure musical. Straight up romantic musical, no thriller elements of it at all. I have grabbed it off the shelf as well.
You can hold it up, hold it up.
The film is La La Land.
La La Land. And what's interesting is because I feel like during the 2000s, there was kind of like people were ashamed of musicals almost, and they weren't really translated to the big screen. Even the ones that were big successes, like critically, money-wise, everything. The one that always comes to mind is Chicago.
Yeah.
And Chicago's great, based on Bob Fosse kind of style musical, but it doesn't have that merm. What it has instead is like, oh, by the way, it's a dream sequence. Or we're going into the fantasy rather than going, we're still into reality, we're elevating it slightly.
Which is cool.
It's cool. I'm going to say I have no problem with it. I'm second thinking myself.
I have zero problems
I have a small problem with it.
I think it's what makes Chicago stand out.
Okay.
Is that it is, essentially it's a real story about a crime, a woman who murders someone, and then her fucking brain breaks, and then she can only see life as like a musical, as a, you know, like you said, a Bob Fosse musical. I think that's cool.
But then I think La La Land is so brave for just going, we're a modern contemporary musical. People are going to be singing and dancing in real life. They're going to be transported to things. I remember we saw this together. I still remember going to see it. I went with Becky Lucas, our dear friend. Just one afternoon, there was a preview screening. We're just like, hey, do you want to just go see this movie? We loved it so much. We convinced you and your wife to come with us to another preview screening the next day. And we went straight away to go see it again.
Yeah, I remember. And I loved it. And then I never watched it again. And then I remember the Oscars debacle was huge.
Yeah, God, that envelope.
Did they get, from memory, they got read out as the winner.
Yeah.
And then they
Moonlight, you won.
Made speeches, right?
They made a speech, and the guy's like, you go, hang on, something's going on here. Warren Beatty's crying, Faye Dunaway's going nuts.
Yeah.
And he goes, Moonlight, you won, holds up the thing. Love that bit.
Oh, it's crazy.
Moonlight, you won, come on up here. And Meryl Streep's like, oh my God, what's going on?
I mean, it is insane.
It's a crazy
moment. Up until
moment.
Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, it was the most insane thing that had happened in our lifetime.
Yeah,
at the Oscars. It's crazy. But then I think people kind of turned on it around that time. Remember, there was a lot of discourse about the white savior thing with Ryan Gosling's character being like the only dude that can save jazz.
We're bringing jazz back.
Which is a fair enough point, especially when you consider that one of the only African-American characters in the movie, played by John Legend, is portrayed as a hack. Yeah. And like a guy that's selling out jazz. When in reality, John Legend is like an obscenely talented musician.
Absolutely.
He's probably done more than like further the genre, you know.
Than Ryan Gosling has, that's for sure.
He's done more than Ryan Gosling. But I didn't see it again, and then recently I rewatched it for the first time, working on this stand-up show of mine, which has musical elements in it.
Do you do Merm?
A little bit.
Oh, wow, okay.
A little bit of Merm in there. I put it on and I just sort of let all those criticisms leave my mind, and I just enjoyed the film for what it is, which is just like, I hate to say it, pure cinema.
Gorgeous, one of my favorite terminologies. And hey, here's to the fools who dream.
Here's to the ones who dream. It's like really beautiful. It looks amazing. The songs are really good. I think the performances from these two leads are outrageous, considering they're not trained singers or dancers. And it does something very rare, or like at least hard to come by these days, which is this is the second feature film from this filmmaker. After this one comes out, I now have no idea what this guy will do for the rest of his career. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think if he made another film that was almost like Whiplash, but it's on a boat or something, like Speed 2, Cruise Control.
Wow, Boatlash.
We'd be like, oh, okay, we know all your tricks. But now that he's done this and then he's done First Man and Babylon, there are definitely stylistic things that he does that he is like maybe becoming known for.
Yes.
And maybe they're a little derivative of someone like Martin Scorsese or
I'd even
Paul
say,
Thomas Anderson.
I think he's very Steven Spielberg. And I think his path is a Spielbergian path.
I think so too, but I mean like, I'm just excited to see what he does next. Like whatever it will be, a comedy, a drama, a thriller, another musical, Whiplash 2 on a boat.
I'd love that.
I also think one last thing I want to say about it is underrated comedic performance from Ryan Gosling.
In this one?
In this one.
It's something that no one has ever said before,
I don't think you think of it because it's quite a romantic film and it's mainly about the dancing and stuff, but his physical comedy is great.
Yeah.
He is maybe displaying for the first time the kind of like verbal comedic chops that he has. I think he's got a very distinct verbal comedy style that I don't know if anyone else quite does.
Because he has that, what do you call it? It's like not a dialect, but it's he's got a learned accent.
Yeah.
Because he's Canadian, but he has like, he's learned the New York accent. What do you call that? There's a terminology for that.
He's a loser?
No.
But that is kind of what it is.
Yeah.
He's like a little nerd Canadian kid who was obsessed with tough guy actors, so he learned how to talk like them. By the way, thank God for this giant computer.
Oh, I love this thing. Oh my God, I can't learn this term. It's gonna fucking kill me.
Yeah, probably.
This is going to be the thing that kills me. Well, I'll put it in the show notes of the episode. Click on through when I've learned out what that terminology is. All right, you've got one more weekly left.
Okay.
And you have gone to the comedy section for this one.
Yeah, sure. I've gone to the comedy section, although I think it could belong on the documentary.
You have been spellbound by the tricks of Rob Reiner himself in that case.
We've talked about this a lot, the two of us. This is Spinal Tap.
Music.
And I remember one of my favorite conversations we've ever had was about this movie. We were going through, literally, we're sitting in front of a computer, just going through the list of the AFI, the American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Laughs, the best comedies ever made, going through each movie and going, it's not better than Spinal Tap, not better than Spinal Tap, going like Duck Soup, oh, it's pretty funny, but Spinal Tap's better. Like through every movie until we hit Spinal Tap and go like, how is this not number one?
Yeah. And it's number one for me. It's my all-time favorite movie. It would be kind of crazy if I didn't pick it up for this show. Everything that I love about comedy and music can all be traced back to this movie. It's got all the elements of the things that I like. A lot of it is in theatre camp as well. There's, a lot of it in the comedy that I like to make, which is dumb guys taking themselves really seriously.
Yes. That's how we've been saying it, is like drama is people taking things seriously, comedy is people taking things really seriously.
Really seriously. And the characters in Spinal Tap do not have a sense of humor about themselves. They take themselves very seriously, and their cockiness and their arrogance is part of the comedy of the film, because we can watch it and we know they're not as good as they think they are. But the other thing I love about it is the songs are really good. They're just really good rock songs. They're funny, there's jokes in them, but you could listen to it and not know that it's a parody for a bit. Maybe not for a whole song, but you could get a minute and a half in and be like, this is like a pretty serviceable 1980s hair metal song. And that's one thing I love about musical, like good musical comedy. The songs should almost stand alone as just good songs.
Yeah.
This movie does that.
I agree completely. I love this movie maybe more than any other comedy. Like there's very few that enter that same like hallowed ground, if you will. But this is what I always think about when I think about photo documentaries or mockumentaries. This is a great example because very rarely does it break that spell that it casts. Like it feels very real. It's presented as real for a lot of it. There are like extensions that lead to greater jokes, but it doesn't change the form at all. And I think it's all the greater for it to this day, Spinal Tap exists semi in real life as a real band. Like they'll do tours together. They did the audio commentary for these DVDs in character together.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like they've kept that spell up in that kind of like Del Close hat half on, hat half off, being the only distinction between a character and not. Like they can just pop it on whenever they want. But also, I remember seeing this for the first time as a kid and taking me a while to realize it wasn't a documentary. And then later on figuring out, hang on a second, these guys aren't even English. And it's like they have the most perfect comedic English accents.
Yeah, they do.
Where they can just read, like the way Christopher Guest is so fucking real in this movie.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
so real.
He's an incredibly underrated actor.
Truly. He's just like, he is real in this film. I love the cameos. Fran Drescher, early performance as Bobby.
Yeah.
Just
Bobby Slackman.
beautiful
You
characterization.
get Paul Schaefer in there.
Oh, Paul Schaefer. Okay, Dave. Love him.
You get Billy
And
Crystal.
Billy Crystal as a mime with
Dana Carvey.
two of the greats.
Yeah.
Bruno Kirby steals a show for me.
Love Bruno Kirby.
Because he's so emotional talking about Frank Sinatra and the disrespect these guys have for real musicians as a chauffeur. So freaking funny. Have you ever read the script to this?
No, I've never read the script.
It's a great script. I'll steal it for you from a library.
Cool.
Absolutely. No problem. I'll do it for you, brother.
Awesome.
No problem.
Thanks, man.
But it is big, long scene descriptions. And then all of the dialogue is improvised. But they have kind of like scene descriptions of the scene, like what should go on, where they should start, where they should finish. And it's about the length of a regular screenplay. It's not like much shorter or anything. It's quite detailed. But you can just feel like how much of the rawness of the energy adds into that faux documentary nature of it all. And they've announced they're making a sequel.
I know.
The sequel is also, I believe, directed by Rob Reiner.
I believe so. I think it's the entire original creative team.
In character as Marty DeBurgi.
Marty DeBurgi.
And by the way, do you think that's funny?
I do.
Yeah, I'm always on the edge. Like, is that funny? To be like,
I think it's funny because it's not too on the nose. It's not like it's right there for you. You have to kind of unpack it a bit, that he's taken the name from three famous filmmakers.
Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, and what an honor for Brian De Palma to make the cut.
Huge honor for De Palma.
I think it's a huge honor because it's not obvious.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it good.
And I think that's probably, unfortunately, De Palma's greatest accolade. He never got Oscar noms, never this, never got wins.
I think Mission Impossible is his biggest accolade.
Really?
Yeah.
Better than being the D in Marty DeBurgi.
I mean, I'd love to be the D.
Oh, God, to be in the middle there?
Yeah, I'm very excited for this sequel.
All I know about is it's kind of set up to be like a concert movie like The Last Waltz. I think that's genius.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
And it has potential to be a great comedy sequel.
It does, yeah, I know. I mean, they've done enough in the meantime that we know their chops are pretty sharp.
Sharp chops, that's my favourite term.
Yeah.
This guy's got a sharp chop.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Shearer's got some of the sharpest chops in the biz.
Oh. Beep boop. There's mutton chops.
Yeah.
Well, those are some beautiful picks. What a wonderful combo you've got. But there is one added feature to this combo. Not only do you get your new release, your weeklies, you're going to get a staff pick, a bespoke recommendation from me.
Staff pick.
Okay.
Think of me as cinematic sommelier.
Oh, wow.
I've sampled your taste. I've heard what you like. I've swilled it in my mouth a little bit. And I've spat out for you because I'm going to say this. He did me the honor of driving me here to Betoota today. And yeah, we did it in one day.
It was a long drive.
A long haul, if you will.
And we stopped to get KFC twice.
Yeah. Once for breakfast,
yeah.
Once for brunch.
Yep, we did bang bang.
The bang bang. 2 different KFCs along the way. And my, oh my, are those highway KFCs some of those graceful places in the world.
You and I have actually stopped at a few highway KFCs in our time.
Yes. And they're truly depressing. I remember there was
you got
one,
really sad.
There was one I went to, it was instant. As soon as we walked inside, something happened to me. Like
your chemistry changed.
A cloud wafted over my being.
You were so sad.
It was so sad. I was like, I sat down, I just felt fat. I felt shit.
You actually ordered the worst meal I've ever seen anyone order at KFC, because you ordered a salad
I
from
ordered
KFC.
salads.
And it didn't have green lettuce in it. It only had coleslaw lettuce.
Yeah.
Without dressing.
It was also during...
It was cabbage.
It was cabbage because it was during this 1 month period in Australian history where there was a lettuce shortage.
Yeah.
So all the fast food places did cabbage. And I said to you, this is a blessing for me. I love cabbage. And still eating it.
You love borscht.
I love borscht. It was a salad with just little popcorn chickens in it.
Dry cabbage
dry.
and popcorn chicken.
And corn chips.
Just honestly one of the most grim meals I've ever seen a man eat.
And all I could imagine, it was such a despicable place we're in. It was like a food court on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful area, Goulburn. I'll say where it is. It's Goulburn.
It's Goulburn, folks.
And...
the cat's out of the bag.
The dog's out of the tackle box.
The dog out of the tackle box.
And it was like the saddest place in the world because there's a KFC, there's a Subway, and then 2 crappy cafes in this food court. And it's in a beautiful part. There's always beautiful trees and stuff. There's nature all around it.
Not a single window in this place.
No outdoor seats. You have to go into this like commiserated cafeteria.
It's like a silo.
It was
walking into a fucking cement silo.
And all I could imagine in the corner, they've got like all those little like those rest stop things that go, okay, skill tester, all that shit. And there was one where it was like an accurate weighing device, like an accurate.
It was like to give you BMI, basically.
All I could imagine was going in there, feeling as depressed I did, eating this crap, so going like, oh, I'll put 25 cents into this machine, find out that I'm medically obese, and then just going and jump in front of a truck on the road. It was so sad.
It was really gross.
So we went past one of those, and it means the world to me that you did that.
No worries.
And I'm hoping that you'll do this for me. This has been a little bit of a test. You know, you're my dear friend. Every now and then, in hospitality, they call it a rock star shift. You come on in, you do a shift, you do a little guest spot. Take a shift with me, mate. That's what I want. But in the video store game, we call it a Tarantino shift.
Okay.
You come back in, you grace the boards, you go through the files. I would love you to come back whenever you want and do a little shift with me.
I'd love to.
So you're not just going to get the new rental combo. You're going to get the employee combo.
Oh my good lord.
It's a special thing where you get 2 bespoke choices from me.
Wow, how exciting.
2 staff picks. And I've been looking at what you've got. I might need a little bit more information for my algorithm, my ALEXEI algorithm. So
you should trademark that.
I'm TM.
If you could email this to yourself, I think that counts.
I'm part of the Writers Guild. That was IP. I created IP.
It's original IP.
I've created IP a few times a day, actually.
IP, really?
So that's my IP now. Put in some more choices. What else are movies that you love in this kind of realm? There's a lot of musical kind of.
I nearly picked Popstar, the Lonely Island movie.
Never stopping.
Yeah.
Taking it in.
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking literally like the next step over, which is for the first time in my life, I watched Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Okay, interesting.
But you know, I like musical. I actually am a sucker for Almost Famous as well, which is not a musical, but it's a tonal musical, I would say. I'm
locking the gates in my head. There's getting more choices
in
there.
I like things that are a little bit wholesome, a little bit goofy. I love The Wedding Singer. I love Wayne's World. You know, these are all music-related films.
Okay. These are all coming through my head.
Goofball comedy, and they're a bit sweet.
Okay, well, I'm putting it through. I don't think that there's like a music comedy film that you've not seen. Like, I think you know them all. Or you've seen them all. They're all on your radar. So I don't think that that's going to do it for you. So I've gone a little bit... I had to go a little bit esoteric for a choice for you. A little bit esoteric. The first pick that I'm going to give to you, because I know you have a love for Wayne's World. I know they love punk stuff as well. And I'm giving you something with a little bit more grit. Have you ever seen the movie, ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains?
Drama.
I have not. Tell me about this.
1980s. It was kind of like a lost movie for a while. Had not been seen for a long time. Genuine cult classic. It stars Diane Lane in her first role as a teenage runaway who becomes enamored with the idea of punks. Like, she's a punk band and she goes to basically transform this little teenage band that she's got. her, another band member, Laura Dern, in her earliest role.
Wow.
And they have this band that kind of are like the Runaways inspired, but a girl punk band. It is directed by this guy called Lou Adler. Do you know Lou Adler?
Oh, the name is so familiar.
He is only got one other director credit. It's a movie called Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke. But he was a music producer. He produced the Mamas and the Papas. He did comedy albums for Cheech and Chong. He made that movie Up in Smoke. This is the only other movie that he did. And it is written by Nancy Dowd, who did Slapshot and a few other great movies from the 70s. And it was a difficult collaboration between them. There's probably some exploitation that goes along with this movie. But what it is, at its heart, is her film. For the most part, there's some difficulty in there, but it's a real, it's like a feminist version of like punk rock history and those things. Another person in here, another thing that I was interpreting from your picks and stuff is you love to see your fellas represented, your guys. And this movie has one of your guys in their earliest film role as well. It's a debut of Mr. Ray Winston. And he plays a punk rocker in this film.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he's a punk rock guy in this film.
Does he talk the way he talks? Like geezer?
Talks the way he's a
punk?
geezer punk. And in his band, I think there's members of the Sex Pistols and the Tubers and stuff are in his band.
Oh my God, that's
so
so funny.
There's lots of like real authentic punk stuff in there.
Wow.
Christine Lahti from like Law and Order, SVU and stuff has this great monologue as an auntie of one of the girls. That as these girls become famous, they start inspiring other like troublemaker girls and stuff to start dressing, to start being like these punk girls. But it's like, it was a film that was made in, I think, 79, did not get released for years, and then basically became lost for a long time. Like it would only really pop up at art galleries, film festivals, not really much releases, but now it's on Blu-ray finally. And now it's easily be accessible. People can see it. Great movie.
I am such a big fan of this aesthetic as well. Like, there's something so performative and so fun about the classic 1970s punk look with the like shaved sides of your head and the pin through your ear and
the makeup starting to go to that glam punk kind of era.
There's a bit of Susie Sue and the eyeshadow, and I think it's just because I would never have been brave enough to dress like this, but there's something just cool to me about teenagers that are so unconcerned about looking like losers or embarrassed in their later years. I'm a big fan of this aesthetic. I love the Sex Pistols. I love 70s British punk so much. I've been going through a musical rehash of this particular era as well. I've been listening to a lot of The Clash and The Specials and The Jam and The Pistols again as well. So this is definitely going to be right up my alley.
Let me tell you who's in this movie, because there's a few cameos by famous punk rockers. We have got, let me just see. Okay, so in the band, you've got Steve Jones and Paul Cook from the Sex Pistols. Yeah. Paul Simonon from The Clash. Vince Welnick and Fee Waybill from the Tubes.
Wow.
And there is a moment in this movie where the band that Ray Winston is the leader of, and I think those guys are like all who make up the rest of the band, which is just like pretty wild. And there's a scene where Fee Waybill and Ray Winston are like having a clash with each other, and he actually decks him. Like Ray Winston decks Fee Waybill. And it makes the cut of the film. But you'll like this a lot. Great music.
Yeah, it sounds
great
right up
punk
my
aesthetic,
alley.
and it's genuinely punk. Like it's quite edgy in what it's doing for the most part, especially for being from a female perspective.
Yeah,
at its heart. Great movie. Thinking about that led me to my second choice for you. It also stars Diane Lane in this era.
Whoa, you got a Diane Lane thing going on.
I got a Diane Lane thing going on for you. I don't know why. It came through in the algorithm when you said it.
I like Unfaithful.
But there was, hey, we all liked Unfaithful. And don't get me started about what goes on under the Tuscan sun.
Yeah.
But this is a little bit more in that La La Land surrealism, taking a little bit more of that, but taking it in another direction. It's a musical, but it's kind of like a musical fantasy action film. It's heavy on its genre bona fides. It's directed by Walter Hill, the director of 48 Hours. This almost feels like a sequel or in the same universe as The Warriors, my favorite film by him.
Wow.
It's a movie called Streets of Fire.
Edition.
And the best way I can describe this
Great
is...
cover, by the way.
It is like Star Wars with an American graffiti paint job on it.
Oh my
So
God.
it has basically the same plot as Star Wars, where
Wow.
Diane Lane plays this great singer who gets kidnapped by an evil biker gang, who's played by the leader of which, Willem Dafoe, in one of his first roles.
One of the great cocks in cinema history.
One of the biggest I've heard.
Yeah.
So big, it's confusing, according to Mr. Lars von Trier. And then a kind of a misfit gang of people head on over to break in this almost like a Death Star to rescue her. But it's got rockabilly music throughout, but 1980s era rockabilly music. Reason I picked this for you is, you know, not just Willem Dafoe being one of you guys, Bill Paxton.
Oh my God.
And playing
the great Texan.
Kind of loser music producer who is Diane Lane's producer that kind of hires this gang to get her, Mr. Rick Moranis.
I love the Rick. Wow, that's so cool.
And this is just a visual explosion, this film. It's so exciting.
I'm also looking at, on the back cover of this Blu-ray, original songs written by Jim Steinman, Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty, and Ry
Cooder.
That is so cool. That's a great, like, that's telling me everything I need to know about the tone of the music. That's so cool.
Had you ever heard of either of these movies?
No.
And that's what I do. I'm like an elf. I come in here, I pick things up, I find the aura, and then whoop, which is the sound.
And that's your catchphrase.
Yeah. Whoop.
Like, get the shirts printed now, is what I'm saying, because that is going to take off.
I think so. I will conjure up out of nowhere and either for your perfect recommendation, a perfect couple of picks.
I'm so excited. I've heard of neither of these, and they look so up my alley. It's insane. In fact, it almost feels like you've just used AI to invent two films for me.
Hey, what's between AI but apart from ALEXEI?
Wow. Okay, that's another catchphrase. That's another catchphrase. Again, get the t-shirts printed up now.
Okay, well, Cameron, come back anytime.
Yeah.
We're going to do some more special features together. Our podcast, where we just shoot the shit about popular culture. Interspersed through this every now and then when we will feel like chatting about some crazy stuff. But come back whenever you want, dude.
I will.
This is your home too.
Thank you so much. Now, before I leave, can I go back into that other room for a little bit?
Oh, absolutely.
I need to check out what Titty Slickers 2 is all about.
Well, short and curly's gold.
The last video store.
My thank yous to my dearest friend Cameron James for dropping me off and joining me for our inaugural rental combo conversation. Cameron is doing some really cool stuff at the moment. He has just released his first music single. It's music comedy. It's what he does best. It's probably what he does better than anyone else around right now in Australia. It's a single called Boys Night. It is so funny. The video is on YouTube, so click right through to it because it's a gas. It's a song about going out with the fellas on Valentine's Day. It's so funny. I'm so proud of Cam for doing this, and I'm so happy that he joined me on the podcast. If you want to catch up with the films that we talked about with Cameron, his new release, Theatre Camp, is available to watch on Disney+. His classic Spinal Tap, or This Is Spinal Tap, is on SBS On Demand to watch for free. Whiplash is on Netflix, and the recommendations I gave him, Streets of Fire, I should say, and, ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains are both available to rent on VOD in Australia, and that is all at the time of recording. So if it's not anymore when you're listening to this, sorry, dude, you're gonna have to do your own research. I can't hold your hand the whole way. You have to live your own life every now and then. But thank you to Cameron. Check out his new show, MIXTAPE, which is touring Australia either right now or very soon. It is an elevation to everything that he's ever done. It's so funny, as is Boys Night. So check them all out. And a final thank you to you for watching this show or listening to it. You can listen to it on wherever you get freaking podcasts from. You can also watch it on YouTube, and the links to everything like that around the show are in the show notes or the comments or whatever you call them. Click on them, you'll click everything, whatever you need to do, it's all there. Let me tell you about who we've got coming up over the next few weeks on the podcast. We're joined by Australian actor turned Hollywood hunk Luke Bracey from Hacksaw Ridge, from Elvis, wonderful actor, and we have a great chat about some flicks that you might not have ever heard of before, but they are a thrill. And coming up later, we've got Polly Bennett, one of the most in-demand choreographers and movement coaches in cinema working today. Saltburn, The Crown, Elvis, Bohemian Rhapsody, and many, many more. And until next time, please show your respect to cinema. When you're in the cinema, put your phone on silent, and even better, turn it off because it will conserve your battery, and then you can talk to more people online about the movie immediately after it's finished without the fear of the battery dying on you. Thank you very much.